Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. Spence is still on a cruise. Mike is on family business, grandchild christening. Congratulations. What do you say, Nick, for christening? Is that's all you say? I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty sure.
And Gal is going to be here a little later. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
You know, it's
Boy,
Mother's Day, Amnon.
and it's Mother's Day. Oh, should have
Mm,
forgot. Yeah, happy Mother's Day, all you mothers out there.
mm. Mhm.
And you had a nice
Can't forget that. That's a rookie mistake, Amnon.
yeah, I know. Happy Mother's Day. Tell us about you sending stuff express to New York.
What do you talk about what?
I'm talking about the flowers.
What about them that I ship them?
Yeah, I mean, you thought that they're gonna go within a few hours. What did it take? A few days?
No, there's no problem with it.
I thought you were on chat with them to try and find out what happened.
Well,
And
I was just trying to get a shipping update. I mean, that was about it.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's not really a story there, unfortunately. I wish I had one, but I don't.
Well, then the story of the week is had happened here.
Okay.
What after almost 10 years, never a problem, never canceled the show or anything. Wednesday evening, I had to cancel the Vietnam show because Windows decided to do backups. I mean, not backup, upgrade, updates.
Nah, don't pin this all on Windows.
Yeah, it's all Windows.
It's
Now,
not
wait,
all
wait, wait,
Windows.
wait, wait. I know I panicked because I never checked. I mean, I was always wondering about all people that are having problem with Windows, and here Windows 10, and here it is. It's everything is working. But then I realized, oh, I told Windows not to do any feature updates for 365 days.
Mhm.
So come Monday, I think after the BNI show, it said that it was going to update. It just asked me when to do it. No chance to postpone. I mean, yeah, chance to postpone like to a certain hour of the day. I had to do it. So I left it alone and it did it and it came up. Oh, everything is nice. I start VMix, everything is working, looks like, but I never checked the audio. So Wednesday evening, here comes Bill, and we bring it up, and I go and I do the Facebook and the Gab and everything else. And then he's asking me about some uh, video that's on YouTube that has to do with the Vietnam show, with the Vietnam War, and the show was going to be the Vietnam War mysteries. And this was sort of like something on the dark side. Um, so I couldn't do it real quick. So I figured, oh wait, I have NDI. Nick installed it here, so I can just take it from one machine and bring it into vMix and do it. So I did, but there was no audio. So I started looking and I see that there's no audio at all, even if I talk on the mic or play no audio. Well, I started looking wherever I knew where to look, which was not in many places, and couldn't figure it out. So I said, Bill, sorry, we can't do the show tonight. I got in touch with Nick, and Nick figured out, oh yeah, all the USB ports got renamed.
Mhm.
And at that point, and there are quite a few of them.
Yep.
Every channel here has a sound card that has it's a USB port, and if it changes, even the name changes, that's it. It doesn't work anymore. And I was not aware of that because I mean you don't touch it and you don't remember now. If I had to go today and check, I know what to do, but I'll bet you in a year I'll forget all about it. So we went ahead and Nick team viewed in and changed this and changed that, and we got to the point where there was some audio. I in the meantime, I mean, I brought another mixer up, and the reason why is because the first thing I did is I reseated all the plugs, the USBs and the quarter inch and the RCAs on all the audio uh, channels. And you know how when you unplug a USB and plug it back, it's the ding the dong, the ding the dong. Um, the one for the mixer did not do it. And I said, "Well, that's interesting." So I unplugged another one and plugged the mixer in there. And it went ding, and I unplugged it, it went dong. I plugged it back in, nothing. Unplugged it, plugged it in, nothing. I then plugged it into a hub and it went da ding, da dong, and nothing after that. So I figured, okay, there is something wrong with that mixer. Maybe I hope it didn't burn the USB circuits on these ports and whatever. I said, I'm going to bring the other mixer and see. So I brought the other mixer and just connected. Da ding, da dong, da ding, da dong, da ding, da dong. Everything. I said, okay, so that may be it. So I left it there. I did not take the connections off. And Nick came on and he figured out that it was just the names. But there was one sound card that was missing, right, Nick? Was that it?
Well, yes, but hold on, you need to step back in time here. You're
I
missing
don't
a
remember.
crucial
Okay.
part of the story, is that you rolled back all the updates for
Oh yeah.
you rolled back all the updates, which caused a whole 'nother set of problems.
I rolled back and the funny thing is there were 4 updates that it did. It let me roll back 3. The 4th one it would not let me. The Windows security. I just looked by date and I rolled back the ones that were done on Tuesday and on Monday, but it didn't let me. There was not even an option to uninstall that one.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So anyway, um, at that point when I connected uh, the, the mixer that I'm using, the older one, uh, back in, and Nick figured out what that it's the USB. Said okay, so I took the other one, put it back. But there was a missing sound card, and that sound card was the one for Skype. And we're talking on Skype, and Nick is and it sounds really bad, and Nick is hearing himself back, and it's not it's like it never ran before. It never did that before, kinda something like that. So, Nick had to go to sleep because he had early day the next day, and I had no shows until this morning, and I said, "No, it's fine. No, don't worry about it. Let's do it some other time." Then I turned the machine off. Or did I? I don't remember now. The next morning, I came in, and there was that second, uh, alpha that it was there, and the name did not change. It still said it was Skype, and I put it on, and it looked like it was working. I tested it with Kathy. I had her sit at my desk, and we did it, and everything was fine.
So what's the moral of the story?
The moral of the story, first of all, I mean, it's ridiculous what Windows does.
No,
No,
not the
why?
moral of the story.
Okay.
Because you did a year's worth of updates in one update. So God only knows what
A
broke.
feature. I mean, I did
Well,
all the other ones.
yeah, but God only knows what you did 4 probably major updates all in one shot, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it was yeah, the feature updates that I
Those are big
actually
they don't do those very often.
right. And if they know that something like this can happen to anybody, they shouldn't allow you to postpone it for a year. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I took that out. I said, "Okay, I don't wanna postpone it anymore," because I figured, you know, yeah, that can screw things up, but the point is, why even change it? Why
I mean,
even touch it?
well, easier said than done.
I know,
I
but
mean,
the worst part was or the most difficult part was that I panicked because I thought something really went bad, and at that point, you can't make any sane decisions here. I stopped. I said, "Okay, I'm just gonna screw things up." And Nick is doing it a lot more often than I do between work and between his own machine and all that, and I figured Nick will figure it out, but Nick originally set it up when I got VMix here, and that was the best decision I made that evening. Uh, but it's something. It's really something. Then I went ahead and I did the updates again. I went in and I couldn't. It's not like Windows 7. It says check for updates. It says okay, go ahead and install. Okay, now how do I install them? It says pending installation, and
mhm.
I want to click a button that says install. There isn't.
Yeah, because it's downloading. That's what it
Well,
does.
so I left it alone, and sure enough, that later this afternoon everything was installed, and
Mhm.
everything was at that point everything was working fine. It did not change the names. It did not mess up. I did a lot of I did a lot of things that I wouldn't have done had I knew what to do. Is I went when Nick found out that the name of the mixer changed, I went ahead and I configured all 40 some profiles for that, which takes about I don't know 30 seconds each. But then I wanted it to look right so I understand it. So I renamed that USB 2 audio codec, whatever, to mixer. Well, guess what? Now I renamed that USB port. So now
Mhm.
nothing is working again. So I had to go through all the profiles again and put in the name that it was in there now. Um, we're still not sure that the Skype would work right, but I'll test it later on today. I tested it with Kathy and it worked fine, but I'm going to test it with Nick and see. but it was really strange. It would work fine when I do the testing here, but the minute Nick would connect, it would go to hell and it will sound like really, really, really bad. And that was one of those lexicon alphas that had a problem a few months ago, but then it worked. So we'll see. But this was some kind of an experience. I did not enjoy the 2 3 days that I had to go when I to go through this. But thanks, Nick.
You're not having fun unless you're struggling with something.
Well, the thing is, it makes you learn more.
Exactly, that's why.
But I remember having to go through this when we went. What did we do? When I went from 7 to 10,
Mhm.
and I went through all the profiles and did all this, and I remember doing this. I forgot all about it because if you don't do it, if you never get in it, you forget these things because they are like set it and forget it. Well, until a certain point, and it was a good lesson. There's no doubt it was a good lesson. But this too shall pass. Right now, it seems like everything is fine. Uh, you hear me. I
What?
hear
Hello?
you.
You there?
Hello, are
Amna?
you there?
Hello?
Yeah, and Nick was playing that game with me. I would
Well, at least I
reset.
needed to have some fun.
Yeah. I mean, it did. It was fun. I mean, it
It
wasn't
was
fun to
very
begin
funny.
with, but then it was.
It was very funny. I had a real good time with
I
it. Every
res
time you're like, "Oh, geez, the whole thing is broken." I'm like, just kidding. I can hear you. Real funny. Gotta have some fun with it."
Yep.
Yeah, Tim can only hear me. I don't know. It's something on your end, Amnon. Figure it out. So besides your, the, uh, catastrophe at Nissan Communications this week,
Yeah.
did you have any other projects or things you were working on? Any other issues? Server web-wise and
No. Why?
whatever else? I don't know.
Did I forget something?
No,
You know
I mean,
something that I forgot? No.
I don't remember
Nothing
us
after
talking
that.
about it. I don't remember us talking about anything.
No, I left everything alone and it was working and I said, "Okay," I backed it up and I was more busy with my daughter's graduation and
Oh, yeah, how'd that go?
that went very nice. We
Where'd you
my
graduate from?
my daughter is graduated from state electrical engineer and it was very nice at the ceremony, the commencement
Mhm.
at Reynolds and the astronaut, what's her name, Cock, uh, who also graduated from state, sent them a message from the International Space
Oh,
Station.
no shit. That's really cool.
It was neat, and I loved the way that when she finished, she just flew up, kind of like
Yeah,
raised
yeah.
herself and got out.
Floated away, yeah.
It
You
was
could do that too. That's how you should end all your shows.
yeah,
Put a bar above you, and you can, put a wench in the ceiling, and you
yep,
can hold on to something and float away.
yep. But
Hmm,
very proud of Hannah,
absolutely.
and it was nice. She wanted to get into grad school, and she wasn't sure that her grades are going to be good enough, but she worked really, really hard in the last few months, and she made it. And I just know, oh boy, now more student loans and more money to spend and all that to for grad school. But she called and she said, "Dad, I just got the email that I got into grad school, and it's something that is called free ride. That I don't have to pay anything." except some fees." And I said, What do you mean? Scholarship?" She said, "No, I'll explain." And the way that I understand it, it's the university is sponsoring her to get into grad school over there.
And I think what
And
happens is, I think you're required to do work for them or research and whatnot is I think is part of the degree. Is how it's done in like medical school and whatnot.
well, yeah, and she's been doing that even
Yeah.
in those four years. And turns out that the professor that runs that lab is the one that made all this happen
Yeah. Well,
because
that's
he wanted her to stay in the lab because
yeah,
apparently
pretty
she
good
did
deal.
good work. So this is great.
Yeah. A
And
win-win.
we'll
They get
see.
they get research, she gets the education.
Yep.
It
Yep.
all works out. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Was it over at the commencement at NC State at the dome there over there or whatever it's
It
called?
was at Reynolds Coliseum
Gotcha.
where they play basketball and
How long was it? College commencements are
2 hours.
oh, that's short. Some of these college I had a
Well, no, now remember now,
oh,
one
this is
thing,
just the engineering
this
schools
was the
commencement. Yeah,
engineering school only. Yeah,
yeah.
it wasn't the whole thing.
Yeah, so that'd
And
be like
I was I mean,
9 hours.
I couldn't I can't figure it out. There were 2 I mean, there were chairs all down the court, like with I don't know how many, 10 wide, but there were 2 aisles, kind of, 2
Mhm.
2 rows of and one of them where kids were dressed in a red gown, and the other one were black gowns.
How many red and how many black? Same number?
And there was about more than twice as many black gowns.
Yeah, red is probably valedictorians.
No,
They're
no.
no. Mm.
Turns out, we don't the red are the 4-year the bachelors.
Ah, okay, that makes sense, yeah.
The black ones were the, uh, PhDs and masters, and they were only like, maybe 20 PhDs. The rest of them were all masters, and that's masters in computer engineering and electrical engineering. 'Cause it's ECE, it's, Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. And I said, "Where all these masters come from? I mean, they have to come from state." But apparently they come let me tell you, probably 80% of the masters are foreigners from mainly from India, uh, a bunch of them from the Middle East. It was an interesting, combination. Not many Americans. I I couldn't understand why. So they come from other schools to do their master at NC State. So that there were probably about 400 altogether. But it was very very interesting, very interesting. And the guy, the professor that read the names, I couldn't figure out how is he pronouncing all these names.
Oh, that's quite a process, yeah. I remember that.
And the way the process is that each student was handing him a card,
A note card, yeah.
and it's like phonetically
Mhm.
uh, spelled, so they couldn't make a mistake, and that's smart. Because I mean that's very embarrassing for somebody to pronounce a name the wrong way, and this way they take all the chances out of it. So that's what I did. That was my Friday.
Hey, just an FYI, if I disappear, it's because either the power or the internet went out. We're getting hit with a pretty good thunderstorm, so
Really?
just be aware. Yeah.
Wow. I don't think we have. I mean, it was kind of raining, drizzling this morning
I see people posting that
when I
live to
went.
the south of here that the power's gone out, so just
Okay.
be aware.
So anyway, so that's what happened here. What was happening with you this weekend? This
I'm
week?
trying to think if I had any
There wa
projects or anything that I technical wise that I wrapped up this week. Um,
you're working funny hours,
yeah, yeah.
and but that
6
will
a 6
pass.
a.m. 6 a.m. wake up call is no fun,
Yeah, well,
but life goes on.
it's, it'll pass. It'll pass. It's good experience in a
Nah,
way. I
no,
know
it's
it's
not.
easy for me to say. Yeah, yeah, it's alright.
Let's see. So let's see what happened in oh, Uber, IPO'd this week. That's kind of tech news.
Yeah, and but it didn't do
Yeah,
very
see, I
well.
was
Hmm,
talking to our friend Sean about this. Every technology IPO
mhm.
does the same thing. It does.
Okay.
It IPOs at $40, $60, $100, $20, and it always
Mhm.
goes down. That's just every IPO ever. But, yeah, Uber is now, publicly traded on
Traded.
the stock
Yeah.
market, yeah.
You
Can you
know?
turn your speakers down a little bit? I'm hearing a little bit of feedback if you have those on.
Alright.
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like all hell's breaking loose around here. Um, that scared me. Let's see.
I
Um,
and talking about stocks and traded and all that, I was reading something about that the FTC, authorized, okayed some kind of, new, stock exchange for Silicon Valley, for all the companies there that will be able to to do their stocks without being involved in the New York Stock Exchange. Something like I'm not into these things, so I didn't
hmm,
understand it exactly. But they were saying that yeah, they can now trade stocks over there without putting pressure on the New York Stock Exchange.
there was a story this week, and I'm not gonna well, I don't wanna go super in depth to it because I don't know how crazy relevant it is. But, a game company out in, San Diego or LA, maybe San Francisco, one of those places, um, all of the workers, walked out this week, about 200 of them walked out of the studio,
Ooh,
and, it's it there's they're claiming legal issues with, some things. But the bigger story here is there's a push now in the video game industry to unionize, have all of the employees unionize, um, which is a terrible idea, and would I think really hurt the video game industry, which is
sure.
very tightly close to the tech industry. I mean, the reason you're seeing advancements in one of the big reasons you're seeing advancements in technology as of now,
Is
faster CPUs, faster video cards, is almost exclusively video games.
absolutely
Video games and video rendering and some engineering stuff with CAD and whatnot. But those three
mm,
things are pushing the envelope in terms of computing power
right.
and this unionization of uh, the video game workers industry could put a um, serious dampen on that because I mean that's a huge problem, and I mean I don't know, I don't want to get into the whole union versus not union thing, but you're talking about delays in games now, uh, higher prices for sure. I just could it could just be a real issue for that industry, and it's such a specialized industry too. It's not like you can just grab any Tom, Dick, or Harry off the street and make them a video game developer. I mean, there is some level of computer science and programming and whatnot that goes into that. Um, but I see that to potentially be a problem here if something like that does move forward for obviously the video game industry, but then for the larger the technology industry. And God only knows what industry would follow behind them.
Yeah, but that this is where the unions are seeing a potential.
Well,
It's not
yeah,
that the gaming industry actually wants the workers want to. It's they are being
manipulated.
directed and misdirected by unions. that said, "Hey, we can
Well,
make some money over there, so let's get after those people." And
the big problem that is claimed is that towards the launch of a video game,
mhm,
these people are working 90 hours a week. Now that's for a period of time, but that's the big claim, and that's the problem that a lot of people have. And unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, it's just you set a deadline. If you're not meeting it, then
right.
got to pick up the slack and make it happen. So that's one of the big problems. Is people claim that over at Epic, over near you, because the game is a live game and they're constantly rolling updates, that people are always working 60 or 70 hours a week. And if you don't like working that much, find somewhere else to work.
That's right. Exactly.
I mean,
You you
it's not like they're not getting paid for it. So, all right, I don't want to go too crazy into it, but I just something that you may hear about if you're perusing the net.
yeah, there was one story that the management was telling the programmers, "Don't unionize, just go and buy yourself some more, uh, video games on us."
That was Delta.
I don't
That
know
was
what.
it was very that was actually very interesting. It was a um, Delta Airlines banner, and
Yeah?
it said $700 a year union fees, question mark, something like that. It said, buy the latest video game system or something like that, which I thought I thought was quite interesting. I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I remember seeing something and I was wondering, "What? What are they talking about?"
That's pretty
Um,
funny.
well, let's see, what the other stories were here. Did you ever use that, photo storage app ever?
I've never
Apparently, there's
I've
something.
never ever heard of it.
"Make memories." That's the slogan on the website for the photo storage app Ever, accompanied by a cursive logo and an example album titled Weekend with Grandpa. Everything about Ever's branding is warm and fuzzy, about sharing your best moments while freeing up space on your phone. What isn't obvious on Ever's website or app, except for a brief reference that was added to the privacy policy after NBC News reached out to the company in April, is that the photos people share are used to train the company's facial recognition system, and that Ever then offers to sell that technology to private companies, law enforcement, and military. In other words, what began in 2013 as another cloud storage app has pivoted toward a far more lucrative business known as Ever AI, without telling the app's millions of users. So they are doing it, they're using it for facial recognition development, but they're not telling their users. And
Hmm.
that's kind of bad. That's kind of bad. The where do you use any cloud service for storing pictures?
Um, Pictures, no, but
Okay,
my iPhone does use,
iCloud.
yeah, the default iCloud, but I've got too much stuff on my phone now, so it doesn't back up anymore. I should probably
Mm.
fix that. The fortunate thing is the pictures I don't really care about, and the apps can be re-downloaded. That's the one nice thing about a smartphone is you don't really have data on it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just thinking like, oh, the only thing the thing I'd be really screwed with is, all of my, either dual function or excuse me, two-factor authentication services because I have all those on my phone, and if I lost that, I would be screwed. But that's about it. Other than that, everything else is an app or yeah, everything else is an app.
there's an app for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no place to store any data. There's no reason to. All of my I mean, between work, I use OneDrive Office and all that stuff, and then for some personal stuff, like with the infection podcast and whatnot, I we use Google Drive. So all those documents and whatnot are stored, and if it's something I need to constantly access, I put it on Google Drive, and I can access it from anywhere.
Well, you use you what's available out there, and we use a lot of free stuff, and those companies are trying to make money, and if somebody approaches them with some uh, offer to make more money if they do something with that data, they do that. Do you still have your Chromebook?
Uh, I don't know.
Ah,
No, I don't no, I don't think so. If it is, it's in a box somewhere.
uh, Google said that all devices, Chromebook, launched this year will be Linux ready right out of the box. Says, in case you've missed it, last year Google started making it possible to run desktop Linux on Chrome OS. Since then, more Chromebook devices are able to run Linux. Going forward, all of them will be able to do so. Yes, all of them, ARM and Intel based. So I think we're getting closer and closer to the day when we're going to be able to replace Windows. Uh, it's going to be a common Linux on the desktop is going to be a common thing. That's great. If Google is going to do it, something is going to come out of it. It's always you have to have somebody like Google or Facebook or a big company, Microsoft, to do something so the norm change. You don't have to always go against the norm.
Hmm,
Hmm,
yeah, for sure.
for sure. I would like to see. Hopefully, I'll be able to see this day. 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. Um, I don't see much. My Arnie says that Mac OS will last forever. Yeah, well, with that. To get into something that's not exactly technical here, but I thought it was an interesting story. After an intense debate, Singapore's parliament has passed a sweeping anti-fake news bill despite concerns raised by journalists, academics, and global technology companies over free speech and abuse of power. Legislators in the island nation on Wednesday voted to grant government ministers broad powers such as the ability to demand corrections, order the removal of content, or block websites deemed to be propagating falsehoods contrary to the public interest. Penalties for not complying with orders include steep fines and jail times. And they can do that in Singapore. I mean, remember Singapore when they caught an American tourist that did something and he was lashed? I
I don't
mean,
remember that, but
yeah, he was lashed like 50 times or something like that. That they have punishments like that. And apparently they rule with tight grip on what's going on. So they decided, hey, no fake news here. Critics say the legislation grants arbitrary powers to government officials to determine what is deemed as fact, arguing that the private sector should be the final arbiter of what constitutes false and irresponsible statements. How did that work for us? They say the answer lies in fact-checking websites. Uh-huh. Vigilance by tech giants such as Google, Facebook, and Twitter, and increased media literacy to help news consumers better distinguish between the plausible and improbable. This sounds great when we say something like this. Oh yeah, let the companies police themselves. Let fact checking. That doesn't work. That does not work because the again there are there are fact checking websites that a lot of people do, and I'll bet if I'll ask audience where do they go to find to fact check, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I go to," and I even forgot the name. I haven't used it in so long. What is that?
Snopes.
Snopes. Well, Snopes is not. It used to be long when it was like urban legend or something like that. It worked, but then somebody took a hold of it, uh, apparently with a good plan, namely Soros. And after so many years, they got it to the point where, yeah, if people go to check, we're going to tell them what we want to tell them. And it doesn't work anymore like that. Now, will this last? Will the government be able to do it uh, for a long time without what's the word? Without controversy, staying neutral, and all that? Time will tell. But it's interesting that a government decided to do that. Maybe it'll push some others to be able to do this. Uh, Fake news destroyed a lot of people, and we shouldn't. I mean, even here, we shouldn't allow it to survive. We should know exactly what the news is, and be able to do our our own make our own decisions without somebody's trying to influence it. Yeah, Singapore's they cane people for chewing gum. Oh, I didn't know that. No bazooka there. And Microsoft Solitaire. Did you ever play Solitaire?
All the time.
Hey, God.
The best version is the Windows XP one.
Yeah. Microsoft Solitaire, bundled with the Windows operating system since 1990, has been inducted into the World Video Game Hall of Fame for its popularity and influence on other video games and society in general. It joins classic titles like Doom, Tetris, World of Warcraft, and Halo Combat Evolved. So Solitaire is in the Video Game Hall of Fame.
It should be.
Yeah. Boy, we used to play it for hours, waiting to be able to get all these cards to jump at the end. I don't think they do that anymore. Somebody was saying they don't do this anymore.
I know that's why you play the Windows XP version.
Oh, oh, okay. What's
Why
up,
do you think
Scott?
why do you think I was late?
A
I played
what?
solitaire. Why do you think I was late?
Did you win? How many games?
I got stuck
Oh,
at the middle. Yeah.
okay.
That's why I
Did you ask for a hint?
What's
So what
going
did I
on?
miss? Nothing much.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Um, let's see what else. I was we were uh, we talked about you gal. When was it? Friday night. Hannah was here, and we're talking about TV and all that. And Hannah says, "I canceled everything. I'm using the thing that Amnon's friend Gal told me about, and that's all I'm using. That Apollo."
Yeah.
Said everything. They have everything local. I mean, there's no reason to have anything else. She
Well,
had Hulu and something through the schools. Being a student, it was like something like $14 for the both of them, whatever. Should I even cancel that? Well,
you can get Hulu now if you have a Spotify subscription. They just added that this week. Free Hulu if you are a Spotify
huh.
user.
Well, I have Spotify. I don't think I'll switch Hulu on.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't really care, but yeah, I saw a pop up on the app this week when I opened it. It said something like your subscription now include now. Hulu's got a basic ad supported, or it's got an ad supported model.
Yeah.
Um, I assume that's what it is. Um, but yeah, Hulu, Hulu now if you have a Spotify membership.
So, Gal, why did you shrug your shoulders when I said that?
I mean, it has everything. I'm not saying it's not. It's just great. You don't know where it's going to go, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really doubt that if you decided to go back to Hulu or Spectrum TV or whatever, that they're going to say, "Oh no, we're not going to give it back to you."
Oh, no, no, no. That's not a problem.
So it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Anything that will make you not pay money for these big conglomerates
Yeah.
for not giving much. Yeah, I agree.
It
I mean,
works.
the amount of content out there is fantastic. It's great, and it needs to be paid for. I have no quarrel with that ever. It's never about not wanting to pay the producers, right?
Hmm.
But it needs to be reasonable. It needs to be and it needs to be sustainable. And the fluctuation in price all over. I don't work in the media business. I can live excellent without getting this content, right? I enjoy it very much. I like it, and I'll find ways to watch it. But
There's
if
a but.
exactly if you are expected, right, to pay your well-earned hard cash money, then it needs to make sense of how much you're paying and how much you're sharing your money on it, right? And right now, we talked about it a couple of shows ago, right? When it was just Netflix with Hulu just sticking its head out, and I think Amazon Prime,
Hmm.
it was reasonable. $10 a month, you got you got content, right? It wasn't the freshest content, but it was still fantastic. It was still great, right? The way you can now everyone's trying to chop off the head of the other one, right? By limiting content on this and exclusive that and all of this exclusive might be good for business. It's terrible for the consumer. Stop this all exclusive crap. This isn't doing anyone any good. I mean the consumers, right?
Yeah.
They make their buck. They don't care. But they don't really care about the consumer. They just wanna I wouldn't say they even care about the content creators. They just want to produce something that will bring in the money.
I don't mind exclusives. I think exclusives are good. The problem with exclusives are you've got services that have one I'll give a good example, Amazon. They've I've watched one good exclusive that they had, and it's a single series. It was that Jack Ryan based off the Tom Clancy novel with the, Jim from The Office as the lead actor. Really good exclusive, but it was 9 episodes, 10 11 episodes, something like that, and it's done. So why would I continue paying for the service?
Well, even if you pay for the service, right? And even using that as an example, that's you're saying it's done. I'm
Yeah,
saying if they sold it well, right, they'll probably produce another one.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's not the thing. The thing is because it's exclusive with Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is one of the only video streaming services that somehow makes sense without the video service, right?
Yeah.
Because you're actually buying Amazon Prime and you're getting the service extra,
Mhm.
uh, which out of all of the offering, right, is the only one that somehow for the consumer makes some sense. You either use it or don't use it, it's there, right? I don't know how it makes sense to them, but it makes sense to the consumer somehow. It's all a matter of price, of course, but uh, with Netflix playing with their prices all the time because of competition mostly, and I can understand that, right? And with all of the other content creators, right? I don't know. Netflix, do they have HBO content?
No, because HBO's got their own service, but Netflix,
No.
to give Netflix credit, Netflix has got a whole bunch of exclusives. I mean, they've got a lot of very popular exclusives, and what they're doing, which I is genius, and I'm not a big Netflix shill, but they're taking these canceled TV series that are in season 3 or 4 and then re-signing it and redoing the show. And,
Yeah,
their budget as a other I'm assuming they're spending a whole lot less than network television like NBC or CBS or whoever. They're spending probably a third of what the fourth of what they're spending on it, and they're able to produce that content, and they're buying the rights to the original season, so they're getting 3 seasons of content produced by one of the big networks, and then they're producing seasons 4 through 6 or 4 through 8 by themselves. And they've already got a story, they've already got a storyline, and they've already got an audience. And it's done, and because they're not network television, they don't have to worry about I mean, prime time is 6 to 9 PM. That's what prime time is considered. It's 2 hours worth of content. If a show's not performing well, you gotta can it. Netflix doesn't have that restriction. It can sit on all it does is sit on a server and wait for somebody to stream it. So, I mean, Netflix has got a whole bunch of exclusives and a whole bunch of good content. Hulu doesn't produce content, I don't think. If they do, I've never heard about any of it,
no, they
and
do.
they do,
They
I've never
do.
heard about it.
Yeah, you've heard about the Handmaid's Tale, for example. That's a
I
Hulu
have not.
production. Oh, you have not?
No.
Oh, you're missing out on something.
Um, but and then obviously HBO, everything they do is exclusive, that's all they do. Um, but I mean, it's just certain services are worth buying, and Netflix has got Stranger Things, Orange is the New Black, they've got those are their internal exclusives, plus, all the other TV shows and movies that they've got.
Right, but where does it stop, right? I mean, if you compare it to people who used to buy their loved TV series on DVD and Blu-ray, right? They at least owned it, but
Well, I
that's
would
not the case with streaming, right? You
yeah.
never own it. You can't even be guaranteed that you'll see that content in a year.
Well, but I would make the argument to you that without those streaming services, a show like that wouldn't have existed in the first place. So it's kind of a catch-22. I mean, how many of these shows would have existed on network television? A show like Stranger Things would have never made it on television. It's too slow. Maybe Stranger Things would have. Orange is the New Black would be a great example. It wouldn't be allowed to be shown on TV. Too explicit. It'd have to be an HBO or Showtime
Mhm.
show. So,
Yeah. And HBO and Showtime did it. It's not like they
yeah,
didn't do it.
they did, but now they're realizing that I mean, most of the people that watch, for example, Game of Thrones, they watch it on HBO Go. They're not buying HBO through their cable system or their satellite provider. They're buying it through HBO directly for what is it, $10 a month or something like that. and they're streaming it on HBO on demand at 9 o'clock Eastern or whatever. It's available to stream. So everybody clicks play at 9 p.m. and then every night, every Sunday night on Twitter now is Game of Thrones for an hour from 9 to, or maybe an hour and a half. I don't know, 9 to 10 or 9 to 10:30. Everybody's talking about Game of Thrones.
Right, but
I mean, I
can
agree there's
they?
a problem. At what point does it stop? It's when the consumer decides that these shows or these services suck and we're not going to pay for them anymore. But as long as they're still producing good content, they're safe. I don't exclusives don't bother me. They really don't. I mean, this exclusives in video games and all that's just the way it works.
Well, with video games, it's different because you don't subscribe to a service that is the only platform that will provide you. So if you're registered to Steam, you didn't pay to be registered to
Well,
Steam.
but you did for Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo. You have to pay online. You have to pay an online yearly subscription for all those services. Xbox Live is like $130 a year.
Yeah, but there you're mixing in technology,
Well,
right?
I mean, but so if I buy Call of Duty on the Xbox, the only way for me to play it is to pay the $130 Xbox subscription fee every year. I mean, I can play it alone by myself, but I mean, that's not really
No,
nobody would do that.
I agree with all of that, and the subscription fee you're paying for the platform provider,
Mhm.
right? That is akin to the cable company subscription.
Yeah.
Uh, I have issues with that, but I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense at all. They provide the technology that you're playing on, right? And they provide the infrastructure behind that technology to provide the network enabled gameplay. Let's say we agree that that's a necessary fee. It has nothing to do with, I mean, if Netflix would have sold me a box in order to watch their content, right? It would have made some sense in a way of the exclusivity of the connection. But we're talking about no option for a la carte, right? If you compare it to the gaming industry, you do have the option of a la carte. You only pay for what you use, right? Uh, and with content, you either have the completely offline world of DVDs and Blu-rays on the one hand, and you have this streaming subscriptions. But there, you're starting to mount up the price because you're not buying a single piece of content, and you are paying a subscription.
I
So
mean,
there's no equivalent.
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't I don't really there's not really an argument to be made against what do you argue what
If
is the
we're talking
recommendation?
if we're talking about exclusivity,
Yeah, I mean, what's
right?
the recommendation though?
Then let's use the Steam.
No, but hold on, we can go back to media. We don't need to turn it into video game. What would your recommendation be
No,
against
so
exclusivity?
the Steam structure makes sense. You just register to a content provider. You buy the content that you want, pay whatever. I mean, but even that doesn't work perfectly, right? The Google Play, Amazon, you can buy movies. Apple, you can buy movies.
Mhm, nobody
But
does
even
though.
yeah, I understand that. And the reason is because you don't really own it, because they can suddenly take away whatever you owned because their I don't know, their licensing
Yeah.
ran out. It's everything that has to do with content licensing doesn't make sense on the consumer side.
No, it doesn't, but I'll tell you what, the reason services, like streaming services are so popular is because they reach humans on a, um, I don't know what kind of level you'd say, but you as a human would be more likely to spend $15 a month to subscribe to a service than buy 3 movies at $5 every month. Because psychologically, you're getting a better deal if you're paying for the service and not paying for each individual movie. That is just a psychological thing with people. You are getting a Better deal if you're paying $15 for the whole service and not paying for the individual shows. And that's why they're so popular. Because I will piss away $15 a month, subscribe to a service I'm not watching, but I won't spend $5 to watch a movie. I won't. And I'm sure you're probably very similar way. If you see a movie at $4.99, screw that. I'm not paying to watch this. But you'd subscribe for $15 a month. That's why they're so popular, because that's what people do. You just subscription you pay for. You're not you want to load up, you don't have to pull out your credit card to watch the season of The Office. It's just there, it's available for you to watch.
That's true.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
why
was
people don't cancel their subscriptions either, because it's just such a small amount of money in retrospect. It's just easier to keep the subscriptions when you wanna watch something. It's crazy.
well, first of all, start looking at money yearly and not monthly, and you'll start to probably get sobered up.
Agreed, but that's how people
But
think about it.
no, no, I agree. I agree that that's how they sneak it in, and that's why when Netflix was the only player, right? It was a novelty that everybody got hooked on. But the reason everybody is also complaining today, like all of anyone who is complaining, right, is complaining about no control. No control at all. No control at the price because they're playing with the price all the time. No control at the content because they're yanking out content from one another all the time, right? So you're left at a loss. You went in, somebody bought a subscription to watch something, right? And got to the middle of it and suddenly it's yanked out. You're getting that more and more and more today as the competition, as the market has been matured. By matured, it means it's starting to be a mess. When it was young and immature, it was simple. But now, even with Netflix, you have like 3 or 4 different tiers of service that you can buy from them, and they'll be happy that you will pay more than the 10, $15 that they're offering the service in. So
Well,
overall, as consumers, I don't think anything they're doing is making our lives easier. So all of the cord cutting, all of the whenever a big company comes into you and says cord cutting, they're just looking of how they can switch your cord with another one, right?
But I'd still ask you, God, what is the solution?
Oh, right now there's no solution.
I mean,
There's no existing solution out there that I can say that's great, unless it's illegal.
I
And
know, and that's
for
kind of the
illegal,
problem.
I can't recommend anything, right? I can't tell you, hey, I got this guy, he can hook you up. No, it's not. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem with this is as long as people are still I mean, we deal with this in the video game industry as well. People buy unfinished products just based off of good faith, I don't know what you'd call it, and then we end up with crappy products. What's the solution to it? At the simplest boil it down to the simplest solution. The best and simplest solution is do not buy the product. But unless you convince everybody in the world to not buy the product, it doesn't really it doesn't really matter. So I mean, I can sit here and cancel my Netflix subscription and go, I'm done with you, fluctuating the price on a monthly basis or whatever. But what good is that going to do? Because nobody else is canceling their subscription. So all I am, as I mean, I'd say $15 a month, but now I don't have access to the service.
yeah,
It's got to be some.
it has to
It's got to be
be
a big uniform thing.
Mhm.
Uh,
And
yeah,
as
I
long as they're
understand.
still producing good content, which they are, people aren't going to complain. I mean, really, Netflix is doing they have got so many exclusive documentaries, movies, TV series. It's pretty amazing. I mean, they're practically a full production house at this point.
Yeah, and I think, sorry for the noise. I think some of the reason they have become a production is because they've somehow foreseen that they won't be the only a subscription service out there,
Well,
right?
yeah,
And they chose that route in order to keep That was the way to keep the service alive, right? And not only alive, flourishing going forward. And I agree. Right now, they're on track. They've opened themselves internationally. They're not US anymore, right? They're doing that for what, 4 or 5 years now,
Mhm.
internationally, and it's working. And it's working. And I think the most interesting thing for me as an Israeli, right? They are purchasing Israeli content and producing Israeli content, and suddenly that Israeli content is being much more exposed internationally, right, than it would ever been exposed with any regular service. So yes, I do like what they're doing, but it doesn't feel like this market, especially anybody else who's you know running to grab a piece of the pie. Uh, it it always feels like I, the consumer, I'm never the person who they care about. And I think that's where the whole idea of cord cutting comes from, right? The whole idea of people who would rather go pirate than not, of people who, it's never about I can't pay, or I wouldn't pay for this ever, right? We agree. Spotify is one of the only services that I can say flat out, right, is always worth every penny I put into it, because of the way
I
I
think
don't think they deal with any exclusivity issue. If there is an exclusivity thing, it's like it'll be exclusive on Spotify for 2 weeks and then it'll be out there everywhere, right? The approach is a lot better. If you have a streaming service and you want to do something exclusive, you do it exclusive for a limited period of time and then you open it up. It makes more sense for the producer. They'll make more money by selling it to other services anyway, right?
Yeah, timed exclusivity is a big thing in the video game industry. It's very, very big. There's Epic is now made their equivalent to Steam. It's called the Epic Game Store, and what they're doing, and they're getting a lot of hate, and I have become I've become the water holder for them. But what they're doing is they are paying these developers and these publishing companies a lot of money up front to get a timed 6 month or 1 year exclusive on a game. Now, after that year, the game will be available on Steam and Humble Bundle and GOG and other platforms, but they're shelling out boatloads of cash to have the exclusive right to the game for a year. And the video game industry hates it. But for business wise, it's perfect. It makes perfect sense to do that. It's a genius thing to do.
So who in the video game industry hates it?
All the consumers.
Why?
'Cause
They
they're
don't,
idiots.
it's not like, yeah, but it's not
Because
like
they're
they
idiots,
pay
Carl.
extra,
Because they're idiots. I'm explaining it to you. I deal with these
right?
jackasses every week. They're idiots. They don't understand.
When something when something doesn't make sense financially for me as a consumer, I'll I'll be angry,
Yeah,
right?
it's not. Same price.
When everything is just about, hey, in order to play this game, you just need to install another software, right? And we're not talking here about spyware. We're not talking here about adware. We're talking just about another platform where you are engaged in another set of activities because you're engaged to their content, right? So instead of Steam, I run Epic Games. No problem.
Well, big problem. The
Well,
video game industry
no, no,
is
no, no.
losing it.
Well, losing it. There's still all of those who are complaining. They're installing the
Of
software
course
and
they
they're
are.
playing the game,
You're
right? So
absolutely
they're
right.
full of crap.
Yeah, they
Let's
are.
let's agree on that.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about the full of crap position. I'm talking about how does it affect me, right? Not just it makes me angry. No, that's not enough.
You have to make another account.
So what?
I know. This is what I'm
Well,
saying. This is why I said it's stupid
yeah,
and there's not a conversation here because
but
it's
that's
ridiculous.
why. But that's why it also makes sense. I'm okay with timed exclusives,
So am I.
right? But starting to grab out content, right? Right out under your nose just because they can, right? Just because they want me to pay for another subscription? No, give me something in the new subscription that is so worth me using just the other subscription, maybe, but that needs to also contain everything that I'm getting elsewhere. So why is it okay with I don't know, movies from the 80s? And even if with movies from the 80s, right? If there's one movie that was good that everybody wants to watch again, then it's exclusive in one service. And when you're talking about subscription, it doesn't make sense. With Epic Games, right? You need to register and you need to buy the game from Epic. That just means that the money will flow through Epic, but your experience won't be different whether you wait a year and buy it from Steam. Okay? Your experience with the game will be exactly the same. Not only that, you will be able to play with your Epic friends.
Oh, yeah.
So, right? So no loss. If I want to wait just because I want to pay for another subscription that'll get late, I have a choice. But with this content, with content production and video and all of that, you don't have that as a consumer. And that is what I call the a la carte solution, right? It's no matter you just want to get the cheap subscription, the one that costs you $5 to $10 a month, and not the $20-30 a month, and they get the new content. Fair enough, not a problem. But if I eventually get it, right, I'm happy. Hey, I'm a slow watcher. I watch things very slow. I see one episode of one show a week. Why should I pay more, right? But give me that option. And that's where piracy fills up the gap. Because piracy and it's crap. I don't think it should be that way, right? But in reality, that's what happens. That's why these are created. Remember the story I told you about the guys in the 80s in our neighborhood that will run wires, antenna
Mhm.
wires from their home and go to the video store and play videos to everyone with a program. They'll have a slide on the TV for probably 14 out of the 24 hours of the day, just showing what will be showed this week. And they go to the video store, they rent a cassette, they play it at the times that they schedule. They just run their own little TV rebroadcasting station, and they would charge a very, very low fee from anyone they hooked up. And it was completely criminal. And it
Mhm.
still is, right? We call them pirates. The reason these existed was because nobody wanted one to go to the video store, come back. Nobody wanted to,
Yeah, convenience.
yeah. Video
Convenience.
stores are, by the way, they haven't died. You know what replaced the video store? The Netflix home screen, right? Everybody laughs about how it takes you an hour to choose something that you watch for 20 minutes. That is exactly a video store. You walk around and you try to find the content that you want because you can select only one or two depending on your subscription, right? And you take that and then you need to come back and return it. So if you didn't want to be that person and you had some pirate cable guy in your neighborhood, you'd pay him. And you'd pay him what? You'd pay him a fraction
Of
of that as
fraction.
well, right? And you would watch what? A movie one or two times a week, right? It's like you replace you pay the same thing that a small subscription fee, but you get pretty much the same thing you would have done if you went and replaced, just without all the extra time.
Yeah, but
That is why.
it
What?
it was also more social.
Of course, it's well.
We need to do the specials. Maybe we can continue this later.
Okay.
Nick?
I can do specials, yeah. Remind me, I have a problem with Chrome I need to talk about after. Let's see. Let me get this pulled up here.
There's another used car salesman.
What? What's the problem? That one doesn't look quite as good, but um, I'm having a problem here with my PowerPoint. Give me a second here. All right, here we go. Computers 2K now specials for wow, I didn't realize I haven't updated this date since February 10th, 2019. Disregard the date. All the products are new. Um, yeah, I guess
Oh, well, it's okay.
I hadn't updated this last week either. Who knows? Let's start it off here at Staples. They've got a Dell 27-inch IPS LED monitor for $189. It says save 140, so this is a pretty expensive monitor. Dell, obviously Dell monitor, and those IPSs are really nice. Here's
Yeah.
a Lenovo laptop. It's the S340 with a Core i5 processor. It's got a 15.6-inch screen, 8 gigabytes of memory, and a 256 gigabyte SSD for $499, which is a pretty good price for that. Here is a we've talked on this show a lot about the Motorola Surfboard, the modem that you can buy. Well, here's Netgear's equivalent to that. It's called the Netgear Nighthawk, which is their router line name, but this is a cable modem. They do have a lower priced one that's about $90, but it only supports 100 megabits. This one supports up to 960 megabits up and down. So this is a gigabit router, and it's on sale for $179.99. Check, verify that it'll work with your local cable provider first. But this is a way to save yourself. I mean, you buy this up front, and instead of renting your cable modem for $5 a month or $10 a month, you just buy this, and you're off to the races. Here's an Epson wireless projector. Obviously, it's got inputs, but it's got regular HDMI and VGA inputs, but it can be used with AirDrop and some other wireless things to send audio and video to the projector. It's the Epson EX7260 wireless projector, and it's on sale for $599. I picked this out because I think I'm going to go over to Staples and try one of these out. This is like a no-name gaming chair. Um, I've seen more expensive versions of this. DX Racer is a brand that you've probably seen or heard. Those chairs are over $300, but this is just a gaming chair, no specific brand. It's on sale for $129.99. Whoever makes these, they're on sale at Office Depot as well. So somebody is selling these, and they're on sale this week. So I'm gonna maybe head over to Staples or Office Depot today and try one of these out and maybe pick one up. $130 for that. Here's a small little handheld label printer. It's a Dymo, which is kind of probably the best label maker out there. It's the Label Maker 160, and it's on sale for $19.99. Here's the Logitech M570 wireless trackball mouse, if that's your thing, on sale for $29.99. Save $20 on that. And here's a couple printers here. The Brother HL L2370DW, the W indicating it is a wireless um, mono laser printer, black and white, on sale for $99. Save 30 on that. And finally, if you're looking for a cheap inkjet all-in-one MFC, here is the Epson Expression Home XP440 wireless small. They call it a small-in-one. Very great branding on that for $59.99. Save $40 on that. All right, let's swing over to Best Buy and see what they've got here. Here's a Samsung. A lot of laptops from Best Buy today. Here's a Samsung, their Notebook 9 Pro line, which is it's a 2-in-1 at 13.3-inch touchscreen. It's got an Intel Core i7, lots of memory, 16 gigabytes, and half a terabyte of solid state memory, which kind of indicates why it's so expensive. But it's $1,200. You can save $100 off that. This looks to be a real workhorse of a machine. You can probably do some CAD on this, some probably some light video gaming, some photo or video editing as well. So that's
Any
a little
idea
pricey.
what makes it a two-in-one?
It probably folds back.
Oh, okay.
It'll fold.
Okay.
Assuming it folds back, it's got a touchscreen. It probably folds back on itself. Um, so yeah, that's what I would assume.
Okay.
I guess this would also be considered a two-in-one. The Surface Pro 12.3-inch touchscreen. It's got this is 4 gigabytes of memory and Intel Core M3, and it's only got 128 gigabytes of solid state storage. Um, but it is only $600. So you can check that out. It's a pretty good price for a Surface. Save $100 on that. Here's the Surface laptop. This is a full-fledged laptop. The other one's got the keyboard is weird on the Surface Pro. You can't really put it on your lap. It doesn't sit very comfortably. But if you need a full-fledged laptop, here it is. It's the Surface Laptop 2. It's 13.5-inch touchscreen. It's got a Core i5, 8 gigabytes of memory, and a 256 gigabyte SSD for $1,000. Save 300 on that over at Best Buy. Here's the Acer Nitro 15.6-inch gaming laptop. It's got an AMD Ryzen 5 on it, 8 gigabytes of memory, and then I don't remember what it was, an RX 480, I believe, is the GPU on it. For $589.99. This is a good entry tier gaming laptop. You can tell by the price, and a lot of that is due to the fact that AMD's Ryzen line is very comparable to what Intel's offering and at a much cheaper price. That's at Best Buy. Here's the Corsair, one of their gaming mice. This is the one thing I like about this is it's got those 12 programmable keys on the side where your thumb rests. So if you do a lot of macro work, or you could benefit from macro work, these mice are really cool for that. You use Corsair software to configure what the buttons do, and I've got mine set up to do Control C, Control V, Enter, and a couple of other functions that are just very convenient for me to use. $59 on that, save 20. Here's a Dell Inspiron 21.5-inch all-in-one touchscreen with an AMD A6 series processor, 4 gigabytes of memory, and a 1 terabyte hard drive. For $29.99 for that. Amnon, you need to get a couple of these. The Logitech 4K Pro
Yeah.
webcams,
Right.
um, normally $200. You can get it here for 160 at Best Buy. Check that out. Here's a 1 terabyte Western Digital external hard drive. It's a USB 3.0, so you get good speeds on that for $49.99. Save 30 on that. Here's a nice little portable speaker. Sony, obviously good brand. It's the SRS XB01, terrible name, portable Bluetooth speaker, $24.99, save $10 on that. And I saw this, Sam, and I thought of you. You were looking at sound stuff before you purchased
Yeah,
your sound
the
bar.
bar,
If if the sound bar is not enough for you, you want a little more umph in your media consumption. Here is a pretty low priced Samsung. It's got a 200-watt sound bar, but the big thing is the sub that comes with it, and it is wireless as well. And it's a pretty good price. $170 is not bad for that at all. Save 30 on that if you're looking to get a little bit more out of your media watching
Now
setup.
the base on the one that you told me to get is way too much. I have to put it all the way down, and it's still way too much.
Well,
So it's fine.
if you want some real bass, then something like
Yeah.
this with a sub is the way to go. So that's all at Best Buy. Heading on over to Office Depot Office Max. Here's a LG. It's one of their widescreen 29-inch IPS monitors. This is a cool product. It's not curved, so it's just the regular flat monitor with a Visa mount. 2560 by 1080. $200. Save 100 on that. Here's a Lenovo Idea Center 720 with an AMD Ryzen 7. I believe this is the one that I had my grandparents purchase. They were in the market for a new desktop. Cool thing about this is your boot drive, 128 gigabytes for Windows, which will be just enough, and then a 2 terabyte spinning drive for all your pictures and documents and videos and whatnot, as well as 16 gigabytes of memory. This is a really
Mhm.
good computer for the price. $850 for that. Save $200 on that. Here's the Logitech G213 Prodigy RGB gaming keyboard. $49.99. Save $20 on that. Here's a yeah, I guess, and on that explains that Samsung 2-in-1. It just flips backwards. So
Yeah.
here's an HP Pavilion 15.6-inch touchscreen 2-in-1 laptop. It's got a Core i5 in it, 8 gigabytes of memory, 256 gigabyte solid state storage, and it is on sale for $599.99. Save $100 on that. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, you can get some Game of Thrones USB flash drives. Um, Save $2, a real good bargain. $12.99 for those. You can get some Jon Snow or whoever else. It does say select varies by location, so get there quick to get these before Game of Thrones tonight. You don't want to miss out on that. Here's the Epson Workforce Pro WF3730 wireless MFC print copy scan fax for $99.99. Save $80 on that. That's a pretty good price. And it does have an actual phone jack for fax, so it's a true MFC. Uh, here's an APC. This is one of their. This looks like a newer model. I haven't seen one that looks like this before. This is the backup. I think it's probably because it's the Pro. The APC Backup UPS Pro 10. It looks like it's got a couple of USB ports on the front, and it's got an interesting design. Yeah, it
It's a
does.
10 outlet.
It's got 10 outlets, but it's got 2 USB ports on the front. It's got a
Mhm.
USB Type A and a Type C port, which is kinda neat. So if you have this next to your desk, you could charge your phone with it. On sale for
I guess it's
$149.99.
1100.
W
Uh, what is
Why?
it?
By the model number, by the BN 1100M.
Oh, the
Yeah,
1100 VA.
Mhm.
yeah, 1100 VA.
So you can check that out. Yeah, I haven't seen one of these before. I think it's because it's the Pro line.
I
Um,
think it's the same thing Costco sells right
okay,
now.
cool. Well, yeah, check that out. Having a UPS is definitely the way to go if you've got computers and routers and whatnot that you don't want to shut off when your power flickers. That's at Office Depot, Office Max. Here's a cheap little inkjet printer, the HP Envy photo printer, the 5055. It's on sale for $60 and save 60 on that, so half off essentially. I thought this was a really good price on a gaming laptop. It's an HP Pavilion. It's got a 15.6-inch screen on it, 8 gigabytes of memory. It's got a 1 terabyte hard drive for games, but it's also got a 128 gigabyte SSD. And both of those obviously could be updated. So you could swap out the 1 terabyte for a 2 or 3, and same thing with the SSD. And then it's got a 1050 Ti. Now,
Mhm.
this is not a mobile card. This is a full-fledged um, desktop 1050 Ti. So this should have pretty good performance on it, and it's a real good price there. $699.99. Save 200 on that, and it does look like it has some type of RGB backlit keyboard as well. And it is not their Omen line, which is garbage. It's the HP Pavilion line, which is a pretty good line. And then finally, if you are constantly in the need of scanning things, real estate, lawyer, whatever it may be, here's an Epson Workforce ES 50 portable color document scanner. It's on sale for $79.99. Save $40 on that. And I believe that is all for specials.
Nice. I saw a gaming laptop last night.
Where?
Katie was here
Oh,
and her brother, Harry came, and he's got an Alienware.
mhm.
The trackpad was an LCD screen,
Yeah,
and
sounds about right.
I didn't stay long enough in the living room to see what it does, but it was lit up, and I'm saying, "Oh, so what? I mean, what is it actually displaying stuff?
So
What do they do?"
the big thing with that those are very popular for MMO games, like World of Warcraft. You can configure. I don't know about that specific model, But think about it like the Logitech or the Stream Deck, Amnon. You configure this device to display things that you
Oh,
use,
okay.
and you can configure it like that. Alienware, which is made and owned by Dell, um, yeah, their desktops are pretty high end and pretty pricey as well.
Yeah, it is, and his dad would buy him the top of the line. So
That's
it was big. It looks like it was a 17-inch.
Yeah, I mean that computer was probably close to $3,000
Yeah.
if I had to guess,
Phew.
if it's new.
Um, fish. Here is the link, guys. Okay. Um. All right. Let's get into some technical stuff, and then maybe you guys can go back to the subscriptions and piracy and stuff that you were talking about before. Windows 10 is getting a new terminal for command line users. Microsoft announced at its Build Developer Conference today. That was last week. The new so-called Windows terminal. That's the one that I guess you use to connect. We used to have it in Windows. I think in Windows 90 up to up. I don't think Windows 7 has one, but we used to use it a lot for dial-up. It will launch mid June and promises to be a major update to existing Windows command prompt
Yeah, it's just a CMD
and power.
replacement.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
don't confuse it with the stuff we had
well, that's
to
what it
use
was called.
tutorial. Yeah, it was called the terminal, but the fact that it's called the terminal,
Okay, so
it's
that's
just a name in this case. It's a command line
it's a
prompt
command.
window.
So it's that black screen that you get into different
Yeah.
places. Yeah.
So today in Windows 10 already improved the console, the command line console.
Uh-huh.
If you'll notice when you run CMD or PowerShell in Windows 10, you get a window that you can change its size, something you couldn't do without
Right.
going into the properties before.
Mhm.
Yeah. And before Windows 10 and still today, there are a couple of command line consoles that are much better uh, in providing additional support and in connecting to other OSs and working with those seamlessly. I'm seeing the announcement that they made an announcement video for that terminal. And the reason they call it a terminal is because on Linux, it's also called an X terminal or a G terminal, GNOME terminal. So I think they're going by that name. And what I see just from the screenshot is it's going to be tabbed, which is something new. Up until now, only third-party command lines. There's one very well made called CMDER Commander. I'll paste the link in a moment, which already provides that and fully configurable. I'm guessing they're catching up on their end, providing something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
interesting.
That's one thing. The other thing is cyber attacks. Now, here is a first, and I don't know how it's going to play if it was anywhere here, but for the first time, Israel has used brute military force to respond to a Hamas cyber attack. 3 years after NATO proclaimed cyber an official battlefield in modern warfare. Says the bomb back response took place on last Saturday when Israel Defense Forces launched an airstrike against a building in the Gaza Strip. They claimed it housed Hamas cyber operatives, which had been engaging in a cyber attack against Israel's cyberspace. We were ahead of them all the time, said the head of the IDF Cyber Defense Division. The moment they tried to do something, they failed. Israeli officials did not disclose any details about the cyber attack. However, they said they first stopped the attack online and only then responded with an airstrike. After dealing with the cyber dimension, the Air Force dealt with it in a physical dimension, said the IDF spokesperson. And he added, at this point of time, Hamas has no cyber operational capabilities. So here's somebody who's, can you imagine you launch uh, uh, what, shoot, the word escapes me when you ping somebody or when you hit them all the time.
The denial of service.
Denial of service. Can you imagine you do that and the next thing a missile comes in and destroys your house or whatever? Yeah, I mean, in certain places it can happen, but this is a way to deter. Absolutely, it's very nice. Now, and another thing people need to be aware of here is the Federal Communication Commission on Friday alerted consumers about a wave of one ring robocalls after detecting widespread overnight calling in both New York and Arizona. The scam calls, also known as wanjiri, which is Japanese for one ring and drop, are an attempt to trick customers into phoning the number back. If you do, it can result in getting billed toll charges as though you called the 900 number. They may call repeatedly, hoping the consumer calls back and runs up a toll that is largely paid to the scammer. According to the FCC, the callers are using the 222 country code of Mauritania, a nation in West Africa, so carry out their scheme. In addition, do not returning the phone call. Officials encourage people against calling back. In addition to not returning the phone call, they encourage people against calling back numbers they don't recognize, especially if they appear to be international. That goes without saying. But if you see a call coming in, um, they are like I think the app that I have on my phone, on my cell phone, allows me to block any number with a certain, if it starts with certain numbers. Um, Unfortunately, No More Robo that I use with Uma and with uh, Voipo don't have that option, but you can. I think they already drop them before they get to you. If your phone service does not have any of these, just be aware. And you may not have something like uh No More Robo, which is free for landlines and voice over IP. You have to pay something for a cell phone if you want it. Find out if your service actually offers it, or if it's part of the settings that you can add to your account. It does wonders. It really works. It stops a lot of them. Um, that's actually all the interesting stuff.
Well,
So
I'm not,
you guys want to go back to I mean, unless you have something else to talk about.
no, I don't think we need
Okay.
to go back
All
to
right.
that.
Okay.
We somehow get stuck in it every week. So, but I've been reading on the Windows terminal,
Yeah.
and first, good that I did join today because I didn't know about this, and I don't think I would have read it. Uh, So a couple of interesting things about this. First of all, it's an open source project.
Yeah.
Microsoft has embraced open source as of lately, with a few interesting additions to their family, and Terminal is one of those. So it's not ready for consumers to start downloading and installing, but you can download the code and compile it and run it and help fix it or whatever, provide feedback. It's still in a very early alpha stage. What they did is they've they've completely modernized the architecture of the terminal window. Uh, Additional tabs is one of the main features indeed. I wonder if this will seep out to other already existing open source projects like the CMDR that I shared. It's an interesting project. I think
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
if it helps people to be more productive, it's great.
yeah. It is going to be interesting.
Now you guys talking about SSDs and flash. According to research by DRAM Exchange, a division of TrendForce, the NAND flash industry this year is clearly exhibiting signs of oversupply. And SSD suppliers have gotten themselves into a price war, causing SSD prices for PC OEM to take a dive. It says average contract prices for 512 gig and 1 terabyte SSD have a chance to plunge below 1 cent per gig by the end of this year, hitting an all-time low. This change will cause 512 gig SSD to replace their 128 gig counterparts and become market mainstream, second only to 256 gigabyte SSD. 1 cent, of course, we're going to pay more than that. I mean, that's for their contract. A cent per gig. So 1,000 gig.
$10.
I mean, amazing.
Well, I think the number is important for one specific thing
Yeah.
for us as consumers, right? Is when we pay for online storage,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right? Let's make sure that nobody's charging way over what they need to pay in order to maintain that storage. So,
But it's just amazing.
mhm.
I mean, sometimes these things are just, how can they do that? Um, I got some after that little gadget that you gave us, Gal, the lights.
Oh yeah.
I got some outdoor um outdoor landscape lights I wanted to add. So these are the little square ones, LED 10 watts, work on 12 or 24. This is a metal case. It has the LEDs in it, and it has, of course, a circuit built in there with the chip with the LEDs. Glass front, really nice case. $3 a piece. And I'm saying, how can they do that? It's amazing.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, if you really want to talk about that, you know that at the end there is very cheap labor involved.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, even material. I mean, it has metal. It's not light. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It's not like thin tin. It's got screws, bolts in it. It's got a piece of glass in it. It has the chip with. You look at it and you say, "Wow." I mean, I'm not complaining. Don't misunderstand. But it's just, and talk about more about drives. And this is everybody. You can go and do your own to search it. Backblaze hard drive reliability stats for the first quarter of 2019 are out and show that Seagate has been improving for some time. It still can't match the longtime leader Hitachi and had a nasty blip with 4 terabyte drives. Seagate. The annualized failure rate for all hard drives tested in the first quarter was 1.56%. That's as high as the quarterly rate has been since the fourth quarter of 2017. And it's part of an overall upward trend we've seen in the quarterly failure rate over the last few quarters. Backblaze, if you just go to backblaze.com, I guess, and they have reports about hard drives. They have a good way of doing it because they are a backup service and they use hundreds and hundreds of drives. And for quite a few years, they've been putting the report out of how those drives are holding up. And it's very interesting. Hitachi is still the leader. Best drive that you can buy would be a Hitachi. So it's good to know.
Indeed.
Where's
But
Nick?
we're talking about physical drives, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Where am I? What do you mean?
Oh, there you are. Oh, you've been quiet, so I didn't know what's going on.
I'm good.
Amazon was hit with an extensive fraud, revealing that unidentified hackers were able to siphon funds for merchant accounts over 6 months last year.
Ooh.
People just figured out how to get to those merchants into their account and take money out of it. Millions of dollars. And the new Edge. Microsoft is unveiling a number of new features for its upcoming Edge Chromium browser. The first big addition is a new IE mode for Edge that will allow businesses to load all sites directly in the new Edge Chromium browser using the Internet Explorer rendering engine. It is amazing. It's just amazing how many financial institutes out there and big companies' websites say that they require you to use IE, that they want you to use IE, that the best experience is with IE. With all the problems that IE had and was actually pushed aside, pushed out. I mean, it's still in Windows 10, but you need to know where to find it. But they don't want you to use it. Even Microsoft knows that it's worthless.
And even Microsoft can't kill it. So they're incorporating it in Edge.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Never trust a piece of software that relies completely on IE.
I know. That's
That's
it's
so
it's
sad.
it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So now they can do it, and they did say that it's mainly targeted to help businesses.
Yeah. Well, this is like this is very similar to Oracle. Oracle is trying to kill Java 1.7
Right.
and 1.8, the older versions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way it's trying to do it is by fear, by sheer fear.
Well, that's the best way.
Yeah, completely, like complete terror. If anybody has noticed that uh, the pop-up upgrade for Java shows up in their tray, they'll also notice that it says that if it's not for private use, that Oracle is going to charge money. And boy, this is like this is like Isaac taking
What's his
not
name?
Isaac, sorry,
Yeah,
Abraham taking Isaac
Isaac.
to the slaughter. It's like I mean they put a lot of effort when they bought Sun Microsystems. One of the assets that they bought was Java,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it is a strange move for Oracle. Oracle would charge for by the character if they could. It's and here they bought this open source stack of technology. It's Java with all of its business logic technology behind it. There's Java Beans, there's Java servlets, there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of complexity around Java,
Right.
and suddenly they realized that it probably cost quite a bit money to run an open source. Well, it's not open source, not really. Java, some implementations of Java were open source, but the Sun Java wasn't open source. It was open architecture, but it wasn't open source. That's why there are competitors, open source competitors. There's OpenJDK from Apache, which is Apache is an open source software house, right?
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, but seeing the message that suddenly something that was free for since it was born, it was a platform where you run the software on, you'll pay the software producer, but the platform itself is free. And suddenly seeing it, remember when we said it's free? Not anymore. That's a big turn.
No?
Yeah. Think about all of the software companies who have written Java applications, right? And Sun positioned themselves as the best Java virtual machine. It's called a virtual machine because it runs code. The best Java virtual machine out there, right? And now everyone who's relied on it need to either revisit their code and make sure that moving to another stack, a free one, an open source one, for example, would still work, right? The amount of testing that it'll require is a lot. It's much more than just testing this that the software actually works, because you do not know where the changes are going to come from. This is not code that was under your control at that point. And so, and the customers are freaking out because every business now, if this doesn't change, will need to pay per machine that they're running, per instance that they're running, and that makes it a hefty sum. If you go into Oracle, have the page to calculate the license cost.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a company with 30 people, you see the company will just be bankrupt just by paying Java for Java.
Yeah.
It's like, it's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know why it feels like they're like, yeah, let's take this one to the back of the shed and put a bullet in it. I don't understand the move
Yeah.
in any way. I would have understand if they sold out Java. We don't want to deal with it anymore. We want to sell it to another company who will take care of it. But it's like nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it.
Yeah, so weird.
The last thing I have here is if you're running network and if you're running an Exchange server, a Russia-linked threat group known as Turla has reportedly been using a sophisticated backdoor to hijack Microsoft Exchange mail servers. That report comes from ESET. The malware, dubbed Light Neuron, allows the hackers to read and modify any email passing through the compromised mail server, create and send new emails, and block emails to prevent the intended recipients from receiving them. According to ESET, Light Neuron has been used by Turla. The group is also known as Waterbug, Krypton, and Venomous Bear since at least 2014 to target Microsoft Exchange servers. The cybersecurity firm has analyzed the Windows version of the malware, but evidence suggests a Linux version exists as well. So just to be aware. And maybe if you are running Exchange, maybe find out from your contacts at Microsoft what should you do. And that's all I have. And it's that time of day, unless you guys have something else you want to add. Nick?
Nope.
Nope. Got it? Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. All right. Well, thanks, Gal, Nick. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, happy Mother's Day. Tonight at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm. And at 9, it's Mike Phillips hosting the Crypto Culture Show, both on Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7 FM, and you can listen on tuning. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.